Hi. This is my daughter, Carmela. Everybody wants to talk to Carmela. My name is Paul Cataldo. I own Antonio's Italian restaurant here in Elkhart. How many have never been to my restaurant? Thank you. Well, I hope that you enjoyed your meal. Like we said, this is a small community. We've been here all our lives. I was born in 1962 in Calabria, Italy. How many people have been to Calabria? Everybody else put a bucket. So we came over as an immigrant family. So I kind of relate to the immigrants of today. We came over not knowing the language, not knowing the culture, but my dad took a leap of faith. Coming to Indiana, started out working back then it was the trailer industry, not the RV industry. And he worked for New Yorker Homes. Who's heard of New Yorker Homes? Yeah, everybody else put a bucket. But we made Elkhart our home. We started in the restaurant industry in 1979. I've been at the same place since 1979. Started out as Bruno's Pizza back in 1979. And then my brother Bruno left the business, moved to Italy, got married, actually opened up a pizzeria in Italy for a minute, and then came back. But so we kind of severed the Bruno's Pizza idea. We named the Antonio's after my father, Antonio. So we've been there ever since. We've been very, very busy. We've been very blessed. So I got married a few years later. I had 6 beautiful children. They're all boys except for 5 of them. This is my number 3 girl, Carmela. So all my family, my family is very involved in the restaurant industry. You can see down here, the different things that we've done over the years. On the back, there's the restaurant achievements, not all of them, but several of them. And then of course on the front is I guess maybe personal achievements as a pizza maker and competitor. We started competing back in 2010. I won in Toledo, Ohio, and they said, "How would you like to be on the U.S. pizza team?" I said, "What are you talking about? I didn't even know there was a U.S. pizza team." He said, "Well, we'll give you a free ride to Italy." I said, I'm on. So went to Italy, competed in South Maggiore, Italy, which is the Emilia-Romagna region, right about the middle of the country. Competed there for 4 or 5 years, took a break, had more kids, came back, started competing again. And I was thinking about this morning, it's like, you can see that we've competed, and we came close. Oh, we got second. Oh, we got third. Oh, they fourth. They didn't like our pizza here. I tried taking a stuffed pizza. How many people know what a stuffed pizza is? The Chicago style stuffed pizza. They took it to Italy and competed in Italy. It was the worst thing I ever did. And I got so humbled over there. It's like, holy cow. Because we love pizza here. We love lots of cheese, lots of sauce, lots of toppings, and it's complete opposite in Italy. So it really opened up my mindset as far as which way I wanted to go with pizza and how I wanted to do things. And I always come back from competitions and shows with different ideas, like what can I do to improve my business? What can I do to improve our food? What can I do to improve our service? But without losing, your identity and losing your roots. So, like I said, we're an Italian family. We grew up Italian. I grew up Italian, eating Italian, talking Italian, and that's how I wanted to continue my business, is not losing my Italian roots. So it was a natural for me to go to compete in Italy. So you try, and you say, okay, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? What am I doing wrong? What is the sauce? Is it the crust? Is it the toppings? Is it cheese? Is it too much? Is it not enough? Is it too spicy? Is it too sweet? So back in 2019, after competing in Vegas 3 years before that and getting third, getting second, not getting first, I got it. So what can I do? Okay. So anyway, we made lots of pizzas, gained a few pounds, and we came up with what now what we call is the Vegas Fortuna. The Vegas Fortuna was our pizza that we won with in Vegas. And it's pretty simple in a way, kind of complicated in others. We got an artisan flour. We blended it with semolina. We let it rise for 3 days. We cooked the sauce. We used 2 different sausages. We used a different pepperoni, a little bit of cheese, a little light on everything, and the judges loved it. It's like, wow, that was great. World champion. Yay! Where's my trophy? Oh, here's it. So, world champion, right? So this is our world champion. That same year, we won the best pizza in Mid-America. So it was 2 for 1 that year. So you always think, okay, that's great. But you know what the toughest thing is to do? Is to repeat. So the next year, 2020, my daughter goes to a different guy. 2019, she was chomping at the bit. When can I compete, Pat? When can I compete? I said, you're too young. You're too young. I'm 16. Come on. All right. So she competed in the NAPICS, the Mid-American Pizza Challenge in Columbus, Ohio. At 16 years old, she got 4th. Not bad. Out of the money by 1 point. And so all year she came back and she was determined. So then I won in Vegas. I said, why don't you make the Vegas pizza in Columbus? Because you just don't know. It wasn't a fluke. Did I, lucky day? So you're like, what, if it wins at another competition in a different part of the world, then we'll know that this pizza is legit. So she went in there and competed against, 68, 69 seasoned veterans that were pissed off when she won. But she won, best in the Midwest. So I said, wow. So next year she turns 18, sorry. Dad, I can compete in Vegas now. I was like, I'm going to take my 18-year-old girl to Vegas. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. But she came, and she did awesome because, now the buzz. I should back up a minute. I'm on a team called the World Pizza Champions Pizza Team that was founded by Tony Gimignani out of San Francisco, California. I left the U.S. Pizza Team, went to the World Pizza Champions Pizza Team, and they really were focused and driven on the industry. So I brought that passion back to the restaurant, and my kids saw it, and that made them more passionate. It made them want to hey, can I compete? Can I do that? Let's make this better. Let's try this. Let's try that. So when we went back to Vegas, everyone already knew Carmelo because he was a buzz around the pizza industry. The youngest person ever to win in first place, or even to compete and win in Columbus. So she did that. So everybody's like, where's Carmelo? Where's Carmelo? So, we go to compete, and her pizza, we did a variation of the Vegas. We called it the calabrese. So we added some peppers. We added calabrese peppers. We added hot honey on top of it, and she did fantastic. She didn't get first, but she's 0.034 points out of first. So she got 2nd in the world again. But along with that, another award. That's the Midwest. So now she's going to be 20 this year. We took the year off because of the COVID thing, that whole COVID thing. And so this year she's going to come back in March and compete in Vegas again, along with her sister that's turning 18. And they added a new division, and it's like a combo or a duo. They call it a duet, a team competition. So 2 people have to make 5 pizzas in X amount of time, and you get judged on every aspect of your pizza making. I competed last year, and we got 2nd. I got a friend of mine off the team from Chicago. We did really well, I think. There was a little shenanigans there with the judging, but I got 2nd. And so this year, she's coming with her sister, and they're going to compete in that division, and they're each going to compete individually in different divisions. I competed this year in the non-traditional division, and I won that. Best in the Midwest, again. So I got fourth in the world, best in the Midwest, I'll take it. And it just, sometimes in the industry, you need to push yourself to make yourself better. I know it happens in the RV industry. You know, how can I make this vehicle or this certain chassis? Can I make this better? How can I attract more customers? So this started out as not only is like, I want to see where's our pizza compared to everyone else in the country, everyone else in the world. But also, what can I do better? And it doesn't hurt to get the press. It does great because you always get new people coming in and trying pizza. For those of you that tried the Vegas Fortuna or the Calabrese, you'll know that you can only eat it in house. Why? People say, why can't I take it to go? Well, because let's just say you call in a pizza, be ready in 30 minutes. I'm ready 10 minutes behind. Now it's 40 minutes. You know what? I see a buddy of mine in the bar. I'm going to have a quick beer with him, a glass of wine. I'll be out in 20 minutes, just throw it on top of the oven. So now, by the time you get home, it's going to be an hour and 10 later. What happens to that crust in a pizza box? And then you take that crust as a little, this is a world championship pizza. So I want you to experience that pizza the way the judges experience that pizza, coming right out of the oven, and they get to try that. And now I always say, look, eat a piece here, box it up, you get to go. I get an extra beer or wine set out of that, but I want people to know what it was really like when the judges said, this is a world championship pizza. Not only once, but twice, realistically, actually almost 3 times. So I think we did a great job with that. And now this year I competed with a pinza. How many people have ever heard of pinza? P-I-N-S-A. Yeah. So it's a blend of 4 grains. It's actually 4 flours. It's wheat, soy, rice, and sourdough. They take the sourdough, they make the bread, they pulverize it, they turn it into a flour, and put it back in. It makes a lighter dough, it's a healthier dough, half the carbs, half the sugar. It's very digestible. And people that have traveled to Italy and over the many years that I've competed, I found that the theme in Italy is digestibility. People don't want to eat a lump of cheese and have it sit at the bottom of your gut. So people say, well, I go to Italy, I didn't like the pizza. Why? Well, it's not what you're used to. It's not like our pizza here in the Midwest. It's got heavy on the cheese, a lot of toppings. So they're just not used to that. I learned to appreciate that as I get older, that I really have to look at now what I, put in my body. I'm not 19 anymore that I can eat 10 pieces a day and it still look like her. It's just like, I can't do it. So, but digestibility is huge. So I was working that aspect and did really well. So people that haven't had pizza, we serve that in and out. We can carry out. It's oval shape. It's not round. We only serve it in 3 different styles, 3 different options. We will get to the build your own eventually, but because we don't have a lot of help right now, we've decided to stay with these 3 types, which is the margarita, a pepperoni, and the one I competed with was the tartufo, which is truffle, honey, mushrooms, prosciutto, light mozzarella, and then also burrata. Burrata, it's stracciatella cheese wrapped in fresh mozzarella. It's fantastic. So it's where our industry is not going to, but kind of I'm taking it that way, just trying to get a little healthier as we get a little older in life. And then my daughters are very involved in my restaurant. We've been there for 42 years total. They all work there in some capacity. My oldest is there from 31 to 15. I guarantee you that anyone that's ate my restaurant in the last 2 years, my 15-year-old is good for you. My 15-year-old, my youngest and my oldest are running the pasta line right now, so they do everything. So, but we try to keep our roots Italian. So everything that we do kind of has a little Italian flair to it. It's just been fantastic. And then having your kids involved in your restaurant, they see a different aspect of your life. And I guess I have the advantage that they've never seen anything else. But so they understand how hard it is to run a business, the frustrations you go through, especially in the last few years with the employment, living through COVID and all the stresses and changes that came through that. And every day it was a different rule and a different set of rules. And so just having to jump through hoops and getting that done. I think they appreciate our business and anyone that runs a business a little bit more than they ever have, just because it's hard. It's hard to run a business. We used to be open 6 days a week, closed only on Mondays. And then before COVID hit, we made the tough decision as a family. That means my wife told me that I'm going to close on Sundays. And it was a tough decision. Sunday was a great day for us. But it was really putting a lot of stress on my family. Not, even though we work together, it's work. Getting home from church, and then the next you know, it's 1 o'clock. We gotta go. We gotta be there at 2 o'clock. We gotta open at 4 o'clock. So it's put a lot of stress, and we just never had some downtime as a family. To being closed on Mondays, our school, my wife works. We're just never home as a group. And then COVID hit, and then the unemployment issue with not being able to get any help. As of 3 months ago, I think we started closing on Tuesdays now, because it was my 2 daughters on the pasta line. We didn't have a dishwasher. We didn't have a salad girl. It was myself and my 17-year-old daughter on the pizza line. And that was it. It's like, you have to do something. So we decided to close on Tuesdays as well, trying to attract more help. Look, you only have to work 4 days a week. You only have to work 4 days a week. It hasn't worked yet. But I think it's going to start changing. So we've been here for a while. We expect to be here for a little longer. I'm not getting any younger. I'm not getting healthier. But you never know which one of my children would want to take over. No pressure. She's not my oldest. She's my favorite. So I have five daughters, and they are all wonderful. My son is in the military. He's in Savannah, Georgia. He's doing great things. So someday maybe he'll come back, but time's ticking. So with that, I will leave all the questions up, because everyone wants to ask Carmela questions. And nobody cares about me anymore. So if there's any questions, we'd love to answer them. If there's any employees, that you know of that would want a job.
So since you said Carmela, how is it working with your father?
Well, I think that a lot of families, even when you're just home, you're not doing anything with, in a normal family life, you get to know your parents, but I think I get to see a different side of my parents, especially my dad. Working with him, I see the good and bad, I guess you could say. But I think that a lot of the passion that he shows in his business, it definitely inspires my sisters and I to put that same passion into whatever profession we pursue. So whether that is working on a Friday night in the pizza kitchen, or with my college studies, or whatever job that I encounter, I see that same passion with my dad, and it encourages me to kind of bring that into whatever field I go into. So yeah. Yes.
So talk about where you are in school. Paul, thank you for the restaurant. And your dad.
Thank you.
But talk about where you are in school.
So going into the next academic year, I'll be a junior at Holy Cross College, and I'm studying theology and English. So hopefully going to grad school afterwards to teach at a collegiate level. So yeah.
So that means no restaurant for her.
No. No, but I do hope to stay locally for at least a little while. So yes. Yeah.
Remember to restate the question for the people that are online, but without giving any secrets away, for those of us who have trouble breaking away from traditional pizzas, what are some wonderful ingredient combinations that you think work really well together and you would recommend people try?
question was some ingredient recommendations. So I think it doesn't necessarily matter per se what you put on a pizza. I think it's the quantity that you put on the pizza. So for me, I like to keep it 3 or less, because depending on what type of crust you use and what flour it's made of and how much water is in it and hydration and all the mathematical things about it, a pizza can cook differently in an oven depending on the temperature. So for example, like our regular pizza dough, we also use that to make bread with. So it's going to be a denser dough, it can hold a lot more weight, and we only cook it at about 550 degrees. So unless I were to use semolina, it wouldn't crisp up very much. So I wouldn't want to put a bunch of watery toppings like vegetables. So like mushrooms, green peppers, onions, pineapple, jalapenos, things like that hold a lot of water content. So when you cook them at a high temperature, it starts to get watery. And then you get home and you have a soupy pizza that's kind of doughy and kind of gross. So what I would recommend is if you're going to use more than 3 pizza toppings, to balance it out with some drier ingredients. So something cured like a pepperoni with a couple of mushrooms or onions or something like that. I can't really speak to specific ingredient combinations because to each their own. I don't really like pineapple on a pizza. And in fact, I'm actually gluten-free, so it's kind of ironic that I make pizza, but it just kind of depends on what your preference is. But you got to kind of think about balance.
Speak about that pizza about being gluten-free.
Yeah, so the pizza that we make, it has about 25% or less made with wheat flour. So the rest is, you said rice, soy, and sourdough. So I don't have celiac disease, and celiac disease means that my body just cannot process any type of wheat or gluten or anything like that. Like being around sniffing flour would give me an allergic reaction. So I don't have that, thankfully, but I am allergic to wheat, barley, oats, rye, and fish. So I do have some limitations, but thankfully the pizza dough, because it's made with 25% or less of wheat flour, and my body's able to process it, because just like my dad said, it's all about digestibility. So the fact that there's such a small the percentage is so small, my body can digest it at a slower rate, and so I can process it and I can eat pizza. So very thankful that I think you added that just right around the time that I.
So you used to make fun of people with gluten.
Yeah, I did. I used to make fun of gluten-free people, but
now,
yeah.
karma.
I was in denial for about a year or two. I was like, no, it can't be that bad. It was that bad. And then I think in December.
But I will add real quick to your question about the combinations. Anchovy and onion.
No.
Love it. Love it. Light sauce, no cheese.
Yeah. It also, like with people who order a bunch of toppings on pizza, I will say, like.
You make fun of them.
We do make fun of you. If you order 12 toppings on a pizza, I'm going to hold up your ticket to my sister. Look what this person ordered. I do, yeah. But you want it to be digestible. You don't want it to sit in your gut. You know what I mean? So the lighter the toppings, the better. You know, you don't want to pound on that cheese. You don't want super thick crust all the time because your body just it's not meant to digest it.
Yeah, it's all about balance. It's one thing that I've learned over competing is it's all balance. So everything has to be balanced. Our life has to be balanced. Pizza has to be balanced. So people order a thin crust, extra thin, like she said, with 12 toppings on it, pineapple, onions, and it's soggy. It's fresh tomatoes, and they want it crispy. It just doesn't make sense. I say, think of a pizza crust as a foundation for a house. If you're going to do a skyrise, you're going to have a big foundation. You're going to have a lot of stories, big foundation. Thicker crust will hold the toppings. If you're going to have a thin crust, small foundation. So think of a slab house. It's no more than one story. You don't put a lot of weight on it if you want it crispy. And then again, if you put it in a box, it's going to steam, take it home, it's going to get soggy. So a lot of expectations, are put on us, but it's like, really, it's physics. You can't achieve the goal that you want unless you eat it fresh out of the pizza. And then when it sits on a pan, it will get soggier as well. The moisture goes into the crust. The heat from the crust goes into the pan. It starts to sweat, and the rest is history. So.
And that's why the pizzas are so nice, and also like the Vegas and the Calabrese, the ones that we competed with, because because the toppings are so light, and a lot of times we add more toppings when it comes out of the oven so that it doesn't bake and reduce water inside the oven, because heat will just make it reduce water. So things that come out on the pizza tartuffe, when it comes out of the oven, you get the prosciutto, you get the burrata, you get the arugula, you get all the toppings on top, and it's fresh and it's light and it's digestible. The three things that go in the oven with the pizza is the sauce, the cheese, and maybe one topping, and then everything else comes on afterwards. And it's so light and better, so much better for you too.
So it's something that we've been working on for a while. I was actually thinking about doing a pizza before COVID hit, and then that got put on the back burner. One of the reasons was I didn't have the right oven, so you have to have a right oven for a different style. So every oven has a different style, but you can do it in an oven. I needed higher heat for the pizza. My regular pizza ovens would only get to about 520, 525, 550. I needed 625 to produce this product. And so we waited. We got the oven. Then we said, now we can properly make this pizza. Yes.
You had shared with us here at the table an update on your former waiter,
Armando. Yes.
Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, no, so a lot of you all loved Armando. Those of you know Armando, we love Armando. He's still in Colombia. He's safe, he's healthy, he's making $40 a day. You know, that's life in Colombia. But he's not able to come back yet. I talk to him and text him at least once or twice a week. You know, it depends on what's going on. He keeps track of our newspaper, our Facebook, and he sends regrets when someone dies, congratulations when we win or we do something special. So he's still part of our Antonio's family, but he won't be able to come back for at least 6 more years. Yeah. Another question? Yes, sir.
Well, all this talk about pizza and we got chicken.
She got to eat today. So, so no, yeah. Well, I don't know. Yes, sir. Yes.
Was that me? Sorry.
No, anyone?
I was just gonna ask, so I know this is probably a loaded question, not too easy, but for a classic style pizza, pepperoni, red sauce, something like that, right? What do you recommend wine-wise? Is it Bordeaux? Is it Cabernet? Is it Merlot? In your opinion?
Well,
I'm not asking what sauce.
You should not be able to answer this, all right?
I would like to preface that we do make wine every year, so my knowledge of grapes and wine is probably higher than the average. But we would recommend a Cab or a Zin.
Yeah.
Cab or
So
Zin.
depending on the spice,
Yeah.
you know, is that spicy pepperoni? Is it a sweet pepperoni? Do you have any sweetness to it? Something there again to balance that.
Typically
but,
dry,
but
not
typically dry. So you think red sauce, red meat, dry red wine. It's not different with pizza. If you have an Alfredo sauce on a pizza or no sauce on a pizza, you might want to rethink the Cab. Maybe a little more citrus notes into it, like Sauv Blanc. But definitely anything with pepperoni and spice, a Cab. Yep.
I assume when you're in competition, you bring your own ingredients.
We do.
What kind of problems have you had?
Well, sometimes it is a challenge because you want to go into, we know that we can get produce anywhere we go. I know in Italy I can get mozzarella, buffalo mozzarella cheese, not regular mozzarella cheese, because their mozzarella cheese is horrible over there. But the fresh mozzarella cheese we can get, arugula we can get, fish we can get, every other produce item we can get, so we don't take that. But I take my flour, I take my yeast. I know I want, because that's the basis, that's the foundation of my pizza. I want to be able to take what I know I definitely can't risk not finding. People on a team sometimes will take their own water, especially those nuts from the East Coast. They say that pizza, the water makes the pizza over there. And so what they do is they'll take the water bottle and they'll buy one at the airport. They'll dump it out. They go to the drinking fountain and fill it up with that New York City water. And they'll bring that water over. But also, that's something you have to think about, because salt contents in different municipalities are different. And so we will buy bottled water because it's safer and use that. It's a little bit more regulated than the tap water sometimes.
Yeah, and then also, especially in Vegas, the heat is so dry, it affects how the dough will rise. So some, like compared to the Midwest temperature where it's more humid, there's more moisture in the air, is very different from the West
Yeah,
Coast.
so we have to put a little bit more hydration in the dough because it's gonna dry out more.
How many people are at the competition?
Well, in Europe, it's different categories. Typically, there's anywhere from 70 to 105 in each division. The year I won, I think there was 72 or 78. There was
115.
I guess
she
my
got
question
second.
is, how many people are watching that are there?
Oh, well,
So normally they take place at restaurant conventions. So the one in Vegas,
Oh.
there are obviously the pizza competitions going on. I think there's also like burger or sandwich competitions and sometimes ice cream competitions going on too. But then some of the other attendants, this is like thousands of people that come to these restaurant conventions because it's not just pizza, it's restaurant supplies. What do I need for my restaurant? What do I need for advertising, marketing? You know, they've got ovens and mixers and everything under the sun you can think of for a restaurant, they have stations there.
but as far as what you were saying, maybe when you make the pizza,
Right.
I know, how nervous are you when you're making the pizza? It could be 200, 250 people staring at you. You know, it's fairly a small group, but yet, how many people are in this room right now, you know? And, you know, make a hot dog for me, and I'm gonna scrutinize everything you do. It's just how you put the ketchup on, are you boiling it, are you grilling it?
Thankfully, though, the judges are in a separate room, so it's not like I have to, at least in the years that I've competed, I don't have to present it to the judges and talk to them, it's completely blind.
Different divisions.
Yeah.
So different divisions you present to the judges. So I would bring it to your table. I would explain to you how I did it, what I did it, why I did it. In her situation, in the non-traditional, it was a blind, so they didn't know her name,